What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Wheel of Stupid on Cradle of Death. So the way we're going to do this is, obviously, we'll rank the commanders from best, that's S tier, to worst, that's F tier, depending on how well they deal with the mutators and the map itself, because Chaos Studios and Wheel of Stupid kind of cycle on different maps. Fortunately, the next one will be half a year from now, 27 weeks. So we had a lot of time to rest our chaotic brains until then. So
Yay.
we have Tutu and Stixbender on the call with us today. How are you guys?
It is Wheel of Sad.
Wheel of Sad, yeah, Wheel of Stupid, Wheel of Sad, same thing. So, how we're gonna do this? Obviously, yeah, S tier, the best commander, F tier, worst commander. We're gonna be treating them as if they're gonna be hard carrying the map. So if they need a lot of help, they'll be lower tier. Solos, we will not very much factor into this. We always assume that there's an ally who will be doing the bare minimum for this. So, let's begin with Abathur. Tutu, where do you put Abathur?
Oh, alright. Abathur seems alright. He's mute. I would put him, I guess, in B, since he's resistant to most mutators.
That's
a lot of them.
Okay.
And he has quite good pushing power once he
true.
gets his ultimate evolutions.
How about
So,
you?
yeah.
How about you, Stickbender? What do you put
I was
Abathur?
thinking the exact same thing in all this, like literally the exact same thing.
Alright, unanimous then. That's pretty quick. Nice. Alarak, how about you, Stickbender? Where do you put Alarak?
Ooh, so you're probably going to want to use P3 Alarak, by the way, because having 2 hero units is good. There are definitely a few mutators that make Alarak's life painful if you roll those mutators.
COVID.
But for the most part,
microtransactions.
Mostly Black Death. Outside of Black Death, he's pretty good, honestly. I'm trying to think of what other mutators counter him. I know there's double-edged. Double-edged is the ultimate Alarak deletion mutator.
How about microtransactions?
I'd say microtransactions is pretty okay. I mean, honestly, if you're doing P3 Alarak, a good 80% of your power comes from the hero units anyways. The units are just fluff on the side anyways, so who cares if you don't have money? Oh no, I lose my supporting units. Anyways, they were a tiny sliver of my power. Most of my power came from a mothership and Alarak.
Well, missile command with point defense drones and stuff like that.
Well, then you just plunk down destroyers and use them as base defense.
All right. How about you?
P3 Alarak has a lot of different mutator resistances. It's got 2 hero units, so I think he's probably B,
maybe C. How about you, Tutu?
I would say he's pretty good, but yeah, there are just a few that just like he's really good against a lot, but the ones he's bad against really hurt him.
Yeah,
he's really
bad
against.
Fortunately, there's more that he's good against than bad against.
So
it's just a small few.
Around B. All right, let's put him in B for now. Arcturus Menx, how about you, Tutu?
Menx, A.
A.
He's resistant to. Oh, and he can ESO from the safe zones are important on this map.
Yes.
Because the blizzards and environmental mutators don't get to you, so you can build ESOs around the edges of your base to hit the next areas.
The safe zones are in the middle. You can reach the whole map.
Oh, by the way, going back a little, does Alarak's tier change if he doesn't have prestigious?
Yeah, he goes down tier.
Not really.
Without mothership, I think I drop him a tier.
C. All right, so B is fine.
There are more mutators that counter him if he doesn't have a mothership.
I guess it's fine for now. If it does drop by a lot, then B is still fair. So let's leave him there for now.
I'd say it would drop enough to be C, honestly, if you had any other prestige. But yeah.
All right. Next is Arcturus. Where do we? Tutu. You were saying?
I said he's in A because he takes advantage of the safe zones, so environmental mutators aren't really a problem.
Is he prestige sensitive, or can you do any prestige here?
All right. No, not really prestige sensitive.
All prestiges have ESO.
All right. How about you, Stickspender? Where do you put Arcturus?
Manx will never be prestige sensitive. He will always have ESOs available, and P3 will always be just the slightly easier option, but all of the work.
All right. So where do
Let
you
us
put him?
repeat ourselves. Everything the same thing we said about Manx every single other week, and put him back in A tier again.
There's
Because he's
something.
always either A or S. Why is Arcturus so OP?
There was something pointed out last week by one of my commenters, and I thought it was sensitive. I thought it was fair that Raynor and Abathur both have a hard to play tax because of how involved their macro is. But doesn't the same apply to Arcturus also? Like he also has to make sure to box select his workers. He has to macro up upgrades, the supply, units. No.
This macro is a lot easier. It's definitely easier. It's so much less timing critical. Like there's timing criticalness of our Manx macro compared to Raynor's macro is just no comparison, honestly.
All right. I would kind of say that it's slightly harder to play Arcturus than, for example, someone like Tychus, Zeratul. Like those commanders are really easy compared to Arcturus. Power level, though, yeah, very comparable. But if you two say that it's not as involved as someone like Raynor, then I'll defer to you guys. So, do we put Arcturus in A?
Yeah.
All right. Arty farty.
Manx.
Where do we put him? Stickspender.
So Artanis is an interesting one. On one hand, so P3 is like almost certainly what you go for here.
All right.
And your Archons really let you do a lot of just like,
Pushing.
oh, are there mutators? Well, I don't care. I'm just going to drop Archons on the main objective and win anyways. Basically, honestly, I think that like Artanis' situation is basically a lot of mutators make his life really hard, but his top bar is strong enough that even if mutators ban your army, you can still pull your weight. Soloing is going to get awkward against, or like hard carrying is going to get awkward depending on what mutators you roll. So I would put him in probably C tier.
I think it had a really bad rule when I played Artanis on this one. I think it had like COVID and microtrans. Not sure I remember which ones, but like I had really bad ones where I just kind of stayed my base, let my ally do the work for a while. Who was Zagara? So like, yeah. So you say C tier, Stickspender?
Yeah, your top bar is very strong, but
If you
like
if you don't
your
have
army isn't going to be very mutator resilient, I don't think.
if you don't have the third prestige, does it drastically change?
Yes. Then you're reliant on your army. Honestly, I think though, if he has third prestige, he's high C. If he doesn't have third prestige, he's low C, high D.
All right. How about you, Tutu? Where do you put Artanis?
He's so bad against so many mutators that I don't know. Since this is there's a lot of randomness, I don't know where to put him, but he would be closer to the bottom. So it's either C or D. I don't know how bad the other ones would be, but yeah.
Well, let's put him. Let's call it C for now, and then talk more about it later. Drop in the C for now. Okay, Mr. Haka, where do we put him, Tutu?
The Dehaka is good against so many things. With the creeper host, you can send the creeper host the locust from your base. So I put him in A.
Agreed.
And the pack leaders are strong, especially P2, but not only P2, like any prestige.
All right, so it's not very prestige sensitive for Dehaka as long as you have creeper hosts.
I think you are overestimating how well things can stay under control. There are like if you get a mutator like Outbreak or Void Reanimators showing up, you're nice, neat. I keep creeper hosts in the base, and I send my creepers out to siege things. It's gonna fall apart really fast when they're just pushing all 4 ramps at the same time.
Isn't that the same for anyone? If they push all 4 ramps at the same time, you still have trouble.
But like a creeper hosts, I think are a lot more brittle to like if anything messes up with your nice orderly plan of like I send a wave of creeper hosts and then I sit around kind of defenselessly waiting for another wave of creepers. And then if I try to use my creeper hosts to defend, it's like use your whole wave to defend. You end up using like a whole wave just to defend.
And you have mineral dumps or primal worms, and you have Dehaka.
Yeah, you do have that, but I think that Dehaka is honestly, I think the mass creeper host strategy, it's pretty good for mutator resilience, but it's so brittle in terms of like
well, it's brittle if you're soloing. But
I think it's brittle in terms of like if ever you aren't like in control of the game state, like if ever you aren't just completely in control of the game, it starts to just not function.
well, a lot of the problems there sounds like it could be solved by having an ally who guards at least one ramp in the game. Wouldn't that make it a lot easier then for creepers? Like you can use primal worms for one ramp, Dehaka for another ramp, a primal pack leader for another ramp, or your ally. Yeah, like it's
also,
not.
there is the problem. There is the problem of like you have to eventually kill the constructs, which means you have to have your truck there, and your truck has to be in one piece, which means that like killing the base defenses separate from the constructs. It obviously works, but it's slow, and there are a lot of mutators that can slow you down further. And next thing you know, you're just going to realize that this mission's time limit does exist and can actually come to be a problem. I think
That's
that
true.
Dehaka is going to actually be a lot harder than you're expecting. Like I feel like there's just so many more things that can go wrong with Dehaka creeper host spam than with most of the other commanders here, even if he's relatively mutator resilient. It's
So
like
so give me a letter.
it's weird.
Give me a letter.
I would put him in C. I don't think he keeps up with Alarak and Abathur quite. Maybe he does, but
Well, Tutu says A, and you say C, so we'll average him out in B, and come back to him later,
okay.
if that's a problem. Alright, so let's move on to Phoenix. Where do you put Phoenix, Stickspender?
Phoenix is really not mutator resilient. He's just like, okay, so I can either hard counter Mutator A or Mutator B or Mutator C. And it's like, okay, well, we just changed from Mutator A to Mutator C. My entire...
Stickspender?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. Yes. If you get an abrupt Mutator change that just changes what you have to be doing, you can have some problems. Like imagine like you are trying to deal with double-edged with carriers, and then diffusion shows up, and your carriers are now literally a liability. It's
That makes sense. Wouldn't well,
your champions get messed up by double-edged, your army gets messed up by Black Death. It's like there's like mutators that mess up your champions, and there's mutators that mess up your army, and it's like there's mutators that mess up some units and other. It's just really
what mutators would mess up Caldalis? P2 Caldalis.
propagators, double-edged, concussive attacks.
Isn't the next one?
Diffusion.
Yeah.
Diffusion. Yeah.
All right.
Not as much, but diffusion.
All right. So give me a letter. Is he as bad as Artanis or worse?
Yeah, he's as bad as Artanis. Possibly worse. Is he worse? Yeah. Yeah, he's worse. I'd put him in D.
All right. How about you, Tutu?
Same deal. C or D. Just one of the bad ones.
All right.
Around there.
Both of you mentioned D, so it looks like we're going to be putting Phoenix in D. Han and Horner. How about you, Tutu?
Really bad. On Horner has to be D or worse. Probably one of the worst.
Probably one of the worst.
Just like
Ann Kalagan said in one of the comments that Han and Horner lives in F tier. Will that be true today? We'll see. So it's one of the lower ones.
Let's see. What is Han and Horner good against? Magnificent.
Void Rifts?
Void Rifts, kind of. Especially if it comes later, you're already ready.
Early. Yes, only if they don't spawn early. If they spawn early, they are just hopeless.
Not well. You can rush out Hellions versus the first rift, but I can see your point.
No. The problem, it's Cradle of Death. If it's early rifts, the very first pair of rifts can both spawn behind enemy defenses.
That's really bad RNG then, but
not actually that bad of RNG, because like huge amounts of the Cradle of Death valid spawn areas are behind enemy defenses just because of the way Cradle of Death Voider spawns are set up. We are lucky that Blizzard never released an official mutation with Voidress on Cradle of Death.
All right. So how about you?
But either way, the point was what's Han Horner good against, and we found like 1.5. Oh,
1.5.
Yep. So I honestly think that Han and Horner are going to be F tier here. Yeah.
Any objections, Tutu?
Anything Han Horner can do, someone else does better. For this one,
How
especially.
about dying? Oh wait, Stukov does that better. All right, we'll put him in F for now. But if there's someone worse, we'll adjust. Karax. How about you?
Sudden switch around. S tier.
S tier. I kind of agree, but let's hear Tutu first.
Okay.
Tutu, where do you put Karax? Might have
Who's
had
first? Karax?
Yeah, Karax.
Yeah, Karax.
Karax really only sucks against killbots.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, he does.
That's it.
And here's the thing. Because it's Wheel of Stupid, that does mean the killbots cycle out eventually, which means you only have to feed the killbots for a while.
Yes.
And honestly, P3 is so cost efficient, you might just be fine just feeding probes until the killbots cycle out, and then you'll be fine. And also, killbots are so much easier with an ally than solo.
Yeah, with an ally.
So much easier with an ally than solo. So like, yeah, there's like nothing really like there is nothing bad that can happen to Karax.
So
microtransactions are makes his orbital strikes expensive.
Expensive, yeah, but I mean,
bit, but...
what else? Anyway. So the way we do it as Karax is we just orbital strike down the main objectives. We put down static defense. Maybe we laser down attack waves, and just wait, just rinse and repeat. Because oh, by the way, is this prestige dependent? Will he suffer much more? So same deal.
If you use P2 suffers a little more.
P2 suffers a little more.
Not having that option of just saying, lol, buildings are immune to half the mutators in this game.
Alright, sounds fair. So
that's about it.
The first and third prestige are fine. No prestige and second prestige are less good.
No prestige is fine. Second prestige, it means there are a few more mutators that'll be awkward, but those mutators even still won't necessarily kill you because your units are so cheap. You could just spit out zealots so fast and cheaply, and you can just mass a blob of carry. Like, even with P2, you're still okay. It's just more possible. There's actually things that can go wrong with P2, whereas with the other prestiges, there's very, very little that can go wrong.
Alright, just to recap. So Karax, just play IDEF, static defense, pretty good. And then for offense, just use your space lasers. Or if you can afford it...
Space lasers, heck, you can cannon push if you want.
Cannon push also works. I guess it depends if you have... depends on the
Or
mutator.
you can make units.
You can make all units. I would prefer units because stuff like Lava Burst can come up and make your cannons really sad if you push out with them. But yes, same deal. You can push out with just your space lasers and units if you prefer. So that's why Karax is an S. Very mutator resilient, and the map, honestly, it's called Cradle of Karax for a reason. You can have the fastest expansion of any commander in this game just by rushing your...
Tied with Artanis.
No, a Karax is actually faster. You have to wait for the Archon dudes to finish off the constructs. Karax just bursts them down instantly.
It depends on how fast you're clicking. The Archon dudes are pretty fast.
Not as fast as just rapid fire, but...
Okay, but you know what makes it the fastest is if you start with Fatal Attraction,
Oh.
and then... when you orbital strike the construct, it vacuum cleaners the truck onto the pad for you.
That actually helps. All right, so yeah, Karax, undisputed S tier. If nothing else, just because of the fast expansion and the defense. Kerrigan, where do we put him, Stickspender?
Kerrigan. She's an interesting one. Your hero is very, very strong. You have worms, which counter half the mutators in this game.
Yes.
Nope, scratch that. 2/3 of the mutators in this game. Worms just solve literally all of Kerrigan's problem. Like, your solution to literally everything is worms. Don't use P1.
Not Poopigators.
I would also say, by the way, Kerrigan is actually another thing for Kerrigan is that she's actually extremely good at this map because Immobilization Wave can reach pretty much the whole base for each of the bases that you have to clear, like for putting on the trucks. Immobilization wave reaches almost the whole base, and the defenses on this map are kind of weird. Amon actually doesn't have a lot of huge units. He just has like an awkward amount of
Small stuff.
medium-sized units. So if you go full immobilization wave damage mastery and you aren't P2, you will kill 80%, 90% of the base defenses with a single button.
And if you're P2, you're P2. You can just keep stun locking them.
Yeah, you can't. But like honestly, it's just immobilization wave is just so good on this map. Like it is hard to overstate just how good immobilization wave is on this map in particular.
How about
that I would not recommend P2.
How
I would
about-
recommend P3 or maybe P0.
P0 P0? Okay, so you would say that she will do better here without prestige than with P2. So given that, I need a letter. Is she B or is she
I would put her in A.
A? Okay.
Put her in A, and I would say, well, to be fair, P0, if you don't have a mobilization wave damage mastery, is going to do worse than P2 regardless of mastery.
All right.
But fully upped immobilization wave is worth more than P2 is worth.
All right.
By a
So
lot.
Tutu, where do you put Kerrigan?
I didn't think about the power of immobilization wave on this map. But with that in mind, I think you can do a lot. Like even if you have mutators, you can clear the map pretty quickly because the immobilization wave cooldown is so short.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like speed run whatever.
Yeah,
You can go really quickly.
I almost forgot, but I should mention this. Immobilization wave even ignores double-edged because Kerrigan is invulnerable while casting immobilization wave.
That's cool. All right.
So like literally immobilization wave.
So we agree with A. Well, I was kind of thinking B, but if both of you guys say A,
fair.
Yeah, A sounds
Immobilization
fair.
wave is so broken on this map. Kerrigan. If I were to think of like someone to just counter base Cradle of Death, Kerrigan and Karax. Those are the best two heroes for countering base Cradle of Death.
All right, good points. All right, so Nova, how about you, Tutu? Where do you put Nova?
Nova is strong against like straight up mutators that make you fight head on, but then she's really bad against a lot of other ones, especially ones where you have to take losses.
So kill bots.
So anything like if something goes wrong, that's usual. The usual Nova. It's just if there's trouble, you're kind of screwed. You can't. It's hard to recover.
So
But
she's kind of unforgiving.
yeah,
make a mistake.
that's
Reno
normal
can do a
Nova
lot.
too.
So where do we put her?
Uh,
Is she Artanis level or Abathur level?
she's better. Well, she still has good. She has good cooldowns. She's still
True.
good. It's just really mutator dependent. So
C?
I'd say C.
So is this prestige dependent? If you're infiltration specialist, for example, can you not just turtle up and just airstrike the base's Oblivion Express? Like do like a Kerrigan style?
I guess you could. You could do that.
My personal thoughts on Nova is P3 Nova is probably like B tier. All other prestige is D tier.
B for third prestige, D for the other ones. So like we can put her in B, I guess. Just if her infiltration specialist is good enough to be B. Just give a caveat.
Is really good.
Just give a caveat that the rest of the prestiges will suffer because you don't have.
Honestly, the other prestiges are worse off than Fenix even.
All right. So we'll just give that caveat. So Nova B if you have the third prestige. If you don't, D tier. There it is. All right, so Raynor, how about you, Stickspender?
Jimmy's gonna have a bad time. Marines are counted by every mutator that has ever happened ever.
Yep.
Like even double-edged, which people think, oh, Marines are okay. No. Actually, no. Marines, you press stim, they're dead in seconds.
Don't stim.
Like, okay, but you don't press stim. They're too weak to beat the base defenses without mutators, without stim. It's like
it's just suffering, right? So the only question left is
terrible.
The only question left is Hot and Horner tier or better than Hot and Horner, or Fenix tier.
Let's see. How do they compare to Hot? How do Hot and Horner and Jimmy compare to each other in this situation?
How about you, Tutu? What do you think?
around the bottom, E or F.
E or
If
F.
Han Horner's there,
Han and Horner might be
Raynor,
better.
Han Horner has call downs.
Yeah, Han and Horner might be better purely on the basis of the Hyperion is a killable, crowd controllable, mutatorable call down. Call in the fleet is just I don't care.
And strike fighters, you can hit from home.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but strike fighters like to dive.
So yeah,
In play.
Do we?
Yeah.
Is Raynor
So-
is Raynor the F tier now? Are we, is this what we're
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
All right. So,
Sorry, Jimmy.
Stat Boy, how about you, Tutu? Where do we put Stat Boy?
Stetmann.
A.
I think Stetmann's at least A because
A.
Stetmann's
S.
only really bad against propagators if you're
Yeah.
using Gary.
Can I make a quick interjection? I think it's time for us to compress C and D down, put Artanis down to D, and then spread out the A's and B's because we're going to have too many A's and B's already.
We can do that later. All right, we can do it later. But good suggestion. We'll do that later. How about
Yeah,
Already time for that.
just A. Stetmann A because the only counter I see here really is propagators, and
yeah.
everything else is not a problem.
how about we put him at best among the A's, and if anyone's up for promotion to S, it'll be Stat Boy for now.
I would say it's Kerrigan. I would put
Kerrigan.
over Stetmann. Personally,
Because she's so good at the map.
she's so good at the map. It is disgusting how good she is.
All right, so we'll put Stat Boy here among the A's. There we go. How about yeah. So still A, right? Stick Spender, still A for
Yeah.
Stat Boy.
Stetmann A. I'd probably put him above Manx, below Kerrigan. That's where I'd put him personally.
All right. How about Stukov? Stick Spender.
Well, yeah. So massive wall of zombies, very very mutator resilient.
Yes, except for propagators and transmutation.
Nope.
Just the two.
Just transmutation. Propagators, if you like, propagators are only a problem if they happen early game. Once you have enough P3 bunkers, you just reach a critical mass of, I think like 8 or 9 bunkers is already critical mass that propagators don't do anything anymore. Because infested marines are in fact hit scan.
Well, they do
So
do anything
propagators
on
die.
the road, but like it's 3 meteors at a time, so there's always the risk that propagators will be encumbered with something else.
Like Moment of Silence. Moment of Silence is basically the only one that could really make
Or, you know, short-sighted and speed freaks,
Or that, or Speed Freaks. Yeah,
Imagine-
there's obviously, like, I meant the only ones that are specific to Stukov, not ones that make propagators counter every commander in the entire game.
Imagine getting short-sighted and speed freaks on the same mission.
Oh, wow, yeah. Imagine.
How unlucky would you have to be to get short-sighted and speed freaks in the same mutation, huh? And then get it like 5 straight times, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
That sounds like my life every single day. Anyways, point is, Stukov is good. Stukov is probably above Abathur. Stukov is probably A tier.
A tier. Okay, how about you, Tutu?
Yeah, I think so too.
Agree.
Stukov is not as good as the other A's, but it's better than the B's.
All right. So like worst of the worst of the A's.
So I would again bring up the compression. I would move Artanis down to D. I'd move all the B's down to C, and I'd put Stukov in B, and then I'd consider who might get promoted from C a little later.
All right. We can do that now, I guess. There we go. All right, there we go. Like this.
And then Stukov in B.
Stukov in B?
Stukov isn't as good as the other A's, but he's clearly a step above the C's.
Because Stukov is until you get enough bunkers, Avenger is kind of strong, right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Avenger and
Reanimators, there's so many mutators that can mess up your early game. There's a lot of mutators that really mess up Stukov's early game. And Avenger and Inspiration are always going to be a bit of a problem because of armor. And if you use P1 Stukov to get around those, okay, great, but now you've just added like 10 other mutators that are suddenly a problem because you have units that aren't disposable.
Okay, how about Swann? Tutu?
Wait, were we gonna move Stukov down to B?
Later.
Not yet, Bukov.
Swann is pretty bad. He's budget Karax.
Budget Karax. Still S though.
He's really budget Karax. Like really, really.
So it's
budget.
not budget Karax, it's ghetto Karax. This is what you're saying.
Ghetto. Yes, this is like you know the cardboard Switch
Karax, except the wheels are off the car.
This is like literally like you saw Karax with his like. This is like Karax is like driving around in his like sleek Tesla, and Swann is like
The Tesla without the battery.
Karax is driving around in his sleek new Tesla, and Swann is just the group of kids who, for a school project, built a wooden car, pedal-powered car that looked like a Tesla.
All right, I need the letter. Tutu, I need the letter. D? Is D as bad as Artanis and Fenix?
He does have nice cooldowns, but like that's once every X
About it.
minutes.
Yeah.
He's got nice cooldowns. His turrets are great. His units aren't.
Yeah. So D? How about you,
There's
Stixbender?
no flattering way about that. His units aren't. D, I think. D, because this is once again the story of Swann. His defense is great. His pushing power is non-existent.
It's pushing parts. So hashtag Dwan this week. Hashtag Dwan.
For defense.
D. Yeah.
D for defense.
D for defense. Exactly. All right. So
Swann identifies as defense.
There's guys, there's girls, and there's defense. That's where Swann is.
and Karax is S for Solarite.
Solarite. Exactly. Okay.
Solarite tier.
So how about Tychus?
Rename it. It is now Solarite tier.
How about Tychus, Stixbender?
Tychus is pretty decent. Like, he's got hero units, and hero units are resistant to a lot of mutators, but there's just a couple mutators which are just like, yes, I exist to tell you that your hero units are banned. Most notably Double-Edged and Black Death.
Fatal Attraction will make his life annoying.
Fatal Attraction is also a bit of a hero units are banned. It's not quite as bad, but yeah. And hero unit bans are basically Tychus bans outright. So he's in the same situation as Alarak was, honestly. I literally, he's in the same boat as Alarak. He's great, except there's a couple of mutators which counter him, and the mutators that counter him really make your life hard. And all the other mutators kind of just don't matter.
All right.
Another note is that Tychus is quite bad at this map.
How about you, Tutu? Agree on C?
I think he's better than he has the same issues as Alarak, but he's much easier to use because you just have like 5 units at most.
Yeah,
okay, but Alarak, I was basically just like vouching for a playstyle where you just have 2 units.
But is it enough to put him a tier above Alarak, or just slightly higher in the same tier?
I'd actually put him slightly lower in the same tier personally, but
Black Death doesn't kill Tychus. Double Edge doesn't exactly kill Tychus.
Black Death is a bit of a problem because here's the thing: if you haven't gotten healers, Black Death will wreck you.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you haven't gotten healers, like you don't know when Black Death will hit.
You don't know what's going. It's not like you know the mutators from the start. Black Death can just show up and I don't have healer outlaws. Everyone dies.
Or you can just stock a healer, I guess. You can
or you open with Rattlesnake.
You could open.
Which is not a bad opening. It's not as strong.
It's true. That's true.
Not opening was serious.
So what we're gonna do here is no prestige or the first prestige for
I would do
Tychus.
First prestige. You know what? 3 could work, but like big red button's really, really, really good.
Yeah. So yeah,
P3's downside is just so insane that P3 sounds great until you realize just how good Big Red Button is.
Now
never mind.
Now that you mention it, Big Red Button is basically a mobilization wave that damages buildings.
It's a lot smaller. It is a whole lot smaller, but yes.
Oh yeah, but for the purpose of this map, it's basically
No, it
it's
takes
huge.
like 3 Big Red Buttons to reach the whole up. Tutu's internet died again.
Okay, Tutu's back. So you were saying, Stixbender?
Yeah, a Big Red Button. Honestly, like most of the bases are like 3, 4, 5 Big Red Buttons in area, whereas an immobilization wave just reaches the whole thing because the radius,
it's like
not
30
even
or
the
something.
diameter,
I
the
think
radius of a
I think I
mobilization
did.
wave is like wider than your screen.
I think I did the math on this. I think it's 30 radius. It's
I
enormous.
think it's like 30, 32, something. It's huge.
It's 30. It's pretty huge.
It's ginormous. Yeah. So big red button is good. It's not nearly a mobilization wave good, but big red button is good. I would personally use P1 Tychus probably. If you use P2 Tychus, you're gonna find it awkwardly hard to push into bases. Another note, Tychus runs into the same problem as a lot of hero commanders, like that I haven't mentioned this yet really, but hero commanders run into this problem where if your truck does die, you have relatively few targets, so the construct is going to
Destroy your
really hurt
outlaws. Yeah. All right.
so much. Stetmann gets around it because, like, even if Gary gets caught against this construct alone, if he has a Steadolite overcharged with Greenfield, he's just like, okay, I just shrug this off because Gary is the tankiest thing ever.
Yeah. Anyway, so we kind of agree on C for now, but we can move him around later.
Yep.
All right. So Vorazun, how about you? Tutu.
Vorazun, with it's kind of the same as Nova with that's not P3. Around D-ish. Well, time stop is good, but
Time
that's
stop's
like
good.
Time stop. Literally time stop.
If you have
time
the
stop is
third-
good.
If
But
you have the third prestige,
you need
just
to like
time stop.
coordinate.
Yeah, kind of, but
Kind of have to coordinate and then like move your trucks in and like snipe things. Otherwise, you're gonna waste the time stop.
yep.
Can I point out, we've just been forgetting about a mutator through all of this.
Which one?
Polarity.
We kind of ignore that. I don't know. We don't.
That one's
Well,
like,
there
yeah.
are some commanders who actually have good crowd control and thus are good against polarity. Notably,
Vorazun.
P1 Swann, Mengsk, and Vorazun. Vorazun very good against. Vorazun is the best against polarity because she just has the best crowd control. P1 Swann has pretty good crowd control too. Slowing laser drill is really good. Contaminated strike with Mengsk is
Yeah, you can cancel attack waves.
right below Vorazun. It is really strong. And Alarak's actually got pretty good crowd control there too with Destructive Wave. Vorazun.
Polarity makes his structure overcharge really bad though. That kind of just cancels out.
Yeah. You get a lot of time stops on this map, and also like keep in mind this map is definitely one. It's interesting. This map is an interesting one because it's like relatively hard to die due to our base got destroyed. You usually lose this map due to we were too slow to kill the objective, not we could not keep our base alive against that gigantic attack wave. So time stop becomes extra valuable in that sense.
I actually agree.
I would put her in a similar tier to P3 Nova. She doesn't have the same level of safe clearing, but she just has time stop.
But with the third prestige.
Third prestige, yeah, I'm assuming third prestige here. If you don't have third prestige, you should have problems with like keeping enough volume of units on the field.
Okay, so for
So
Vorazun,
many mutators.
prestige 3 required. Almost.
Not necessarily required because like
Preferred.
the thing is, it's significantly preferred because you're gonna have a lot of casualties against some mutators.
All right. So let's put her in like the C
It's
tier
C.
for now. So we're gonna have to promote some of these guys to be.
I already know. I think that Alarak and Tychus are the two I would nominate for a promotion to be.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay, well, let's do it now. Yeah, let's do it now.
And I still stand by Stukov demotion to be.
Do you agree, Tutu?
I also agree.
All right, there it is. So, Zagara. Where do I put her?
Well,
Stick
she's
Mender.
better than Jimmy.
Better than Jimmy?
High E,
High E.
at least higher than those. Well, the ones she's good against, she's really good. But when she's bad, she's
against,
just like
she's
super bad. She's good against a few, just a few.
Well, here's one advantage of Zagara, especially if you're using P1 Zagara, which I would personally recommend here, is that keep in mind, because all their units are suicide units, and it's just you slam your wave of units in, everything dies very, very quickly on both sides, and then you rebuild. The thing is, you're not limited by the speed at which you can rebuild, you're limited by the speed at which you can get the money to rebuild. So if there's a bad mutator, what you do is you just sit in your base and you wait for it to blow
wait it
over.
out. Yep. You just kind of waited
Literally,
out.
Zagara's fighting style is so much of just like, as long as you have money, not time to actually do the killing, it's money, you just slam your army in at the opportune moment. So you just wait out bad mutators, and as soon as you get somewhere where it's relatively good mutators, you just
roll in.
wave, get this objective cleared.
All right,
Because
how
need to
about
get
you?
more time so you can wait out the next set.
How about
Well,
you,
I'd say
Tutu?
high E.
High E. How about you, Tutu?
Wait, you said high B?
High E. He said high E.
I said high E.
All right, so
Yes, we agree.
there's a
We agree.
consensus. There we go. All right,
I
high
agreed
E.
with Tutu. Yes.
Finally-
my whole thing was basically agreeing with Tutu.
Finally, Zeratul. How about you, Tutu? Zeratul.
Zeratul, huh?
Monoliths.
I think Zeratul's like the same as Alarak and Tychus, but a little better.
Yeah.
Because of cannons.
Cannon's good. We had this discussion
was-
before. Cannon's good.
I was kind of thinking he was only a slightly inferior Karax.
Oh, so you're saying A.
S.
S?
I think he gets all the way to S.
Really? Now that's an interesting discussion. So, what would you say makes him better over Arcturus, Kerrigan, and Stetboy?
His hero
His hero
solo is
unit-
really good.
His hero unit
solo.
is very strong. His cannons manage to be. They tick the structure tech checkbox to be immune to mutators, and the free units checkbox because of cannon projection. So it's like that's 2 tick boxes to counter mutators.
What
Literally
does he
the
do
only thing
for
that can
killbots? He can feed, like, the observers.
or probes.
Probes.
Literally same deal as Karax. It's like, well, killbots are only there for a while and you have an ally.
Yeah.
Karax and Zeratul are both in the same boat when killbots show up. And both of them are in the same boat of killbots are the only mutator that really puts a slight pause to us. Other than that, we ignore all the mutators and we don't care.
Yeah, so
That's
basically,
true, actually.
Cannon's good.
Cannon's good.
Cannon's
Zeratul
good.
hero unit really good. Legendary Legion is units that you don't care if they die. So it doesn't matter what mutators there are that might kill your Legendary Legion.
Oh, and speaking
They
of
have timed life anyways.
Legendary Legion, fast expand.
Oh yeah.
Fast expand.
Legendary Legion just cleaves through those defenses. So it's not as fast as Karax, sure. And it's not as fast as Artanis with his tying of Karax.
It's still fast.
It's still fast.
Alright.
You're less money dependent, you're more artifact dependent, honestly.
So,
you just get your third artifact as fast as possible. And then you have your avatars, which there's a lot of mutators that actually get canceled by just the fact that Avatar of Essence devolves all the enemies, which resets so many mutators on them.
Alright. Where do we put him then? S? Do we agree on S?
I think that's...
Alright.
Now that you mentioned that, I agree.
There it is.
I think so.
Here, that's actually bell curve fight already. That's amazing. So we'll go. Wait, we mentioned earlier that we talk about Dehaka again. We talk about Dehaka again. So is he where he belongs in C tier?
Honestly, I feel like this entire tier list looks pretty good, pretty solid right now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, do we just agree? Do we finalize Dehaka in C?
Dehaka in C. Yes.
Do we finalize Kerrigan in A?
Yes.
Do we finalize Arcturus in A?
Yeah.
Nova in C. Raynor in
See
F.
if it's P3.
See if it's P3.
If it's not P3, she is
Down to E or something? Or D?
She honestly might be behind Zagara if she's not P3.
Ooh, because their units are expensive.
Because her units are so painful to lose, and so many mutators can just show up and say, "Hi, you lose units now."
Bye. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. It's already built cover fight. Now let's do rankings. Who's better between Karax and Zeratul?
I think Karax.
Karax.
Still Solarite. Plus friend. Alright.
All right. Do we start? We said we would start a new hashtag. Is this time it's hashtag Solarite?
Hashtag Solarite.
Solarite.
Solarite. Pretty good. Hashtag Solarite. There it is. Type hashtag. Apparently I made a mistake last time. So in the first one of these, we did this hashtag Buon. And a lot of you actually did hashtag Buon. Unfortunately, YouTube automatically censored it. And I only found out yesterday. The comments are back up now. The comments are back up. But I should be on top of that. I apologize for that. But yeah, this time do hashtag Solarite. Let's get it trending, guys. On YouTube.
Yes.
Hashtag Solarite.
That would be quite a trend, and it's like it's something that's specifically Starcraft. So like, we're gonna get Starcraft back on the board, baby.
There it is. Bring Starcraft back. Hashtag Solarite. Let's do it, guys.
Hashtag Solarite.
Let's do it. All right. So, for the A tier, who is the
Manx goes
best?
at the bottom, I think.
Agree to?
Which one?
Manx goes at the bottom. Otherwise, keep everything the same. That's what I would say.
Arcturus at the bottom.
Yes.
All right. So between
We agree.
between Kerrigan and Stetboy.
Well, I thought I was gonna put Stetmann as second because he's less. He gets less like wrecked by mutators. So like, yeah, once he comes
I
out,
think
he's
Kerrigan.
less.
I think I like Kerrigan honestly better, partially just because there's just so much value in being able to, in case of emergency, jump into nearest worm.
Yeah,
Or, in case of emergency, spawn wall of worms to stall for time.
yeah, and
Stetmann
really,
has something similar.
and really, the reason is
Yes,
because
he does, but he doesn't have a mobilization wave to just say, cleanse
Yeah.
this base of everything smaller than a hybrid.
But instead of every 2 minutes, he does an E-Gorb every like 15 seconds.
that's
Okay, but
true.
the E-Gorb just isn't nearly the same scale of destruction. And also, if there's
But it's
like
more
something
frequent.
like if Evasive Maneuvers shows up and your E-Gorb is so much less effective than a mobilization wave now.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
That's true.
one mutator.
Barrier does the same thing.
And I would
Avenger
say
can
that
do the same thing to
I
an
would-
extent because it doesn't synchronize the deaths.
I would say that Stetboy is just way more helpful to his ally, just because of the green zone and the purple zone even.
Plus, also,
And easier to
immobilization wave. The other advantage of a mobilization wave is that it is a time stop. Like it is kind of a time stop that just doesn't freeze your heroic units because it still stuns everything. Anything that lives is stunned.
Okay, guys, here's my ruling. And it's final. You cannot dispute it anymore. How we will rate A is Kerrigan has the glowiest eyes. That's why she's first among the A. Stetboy has slightly glowy eyes. That's why he's second among the A. And Arcturus does not have glowy eyes. Therefore, he's the worst among the A. That is final,
Right.
non-negotiable. There it is.
Glowy eyes.
Glowy eyes. There we go. So B
Glowy
tier.
eye tier list.
B tier. Who's the best among these three?
Well, Alarak's eyes are the glowiest.
So he's A. He's the first. He's the first among. He's the first among the B. Who's better between Tychus and Stukov? Stukov. There it is. We found it. We found it, guys.
Honestly, we've literally solved it.
Glowiest.
I mean,
With glowy eyes?
Unfortunately for C tier, that breaks down because I honestly think that Nova is above Vorazun here.
Nova's above Vorazun. Alright.
Actually, Nova, you know what? C tier might be just the reverse glowy eyes.
Reverse glowy eyes. So like Nova is highest.
And then Abathur, then Dehaka, then Vorazun. Do you agree, dude? That actually looks... I think that's what C tier looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Funny thing is, in S tier, we also have it sorted glowy eye, then less glowy eye.
They're both glowy eyes. That's where they're both
Karax is
S.
glowier.
That's why they're both S.
Karax literally has white burning suns for eyes.
He has Solarite eyes. They're both.
Behold!
They both have really glowy eyes. That's why they're both S.
Yes.
All right. So between on D tier, who's the best between Artanis, Fenix, and Swann?
Artanis.
Artanis, because he has 3 glowy eyes. That's also an eye, guys. It's not a jewel. It's totally a third eye. Fenix has 2 eyes, a middle eye and a third eye, and Swann has 4 eyes, but none of them are glowy. Is that what we agree on?
Yeah.
I don't really have an
On a-
opinion of these three.
On a more like, if I actually look at this seriously, I honestly think that actually kind of is the rating though. Seriously, because like Artanis's top bar keeps him going. Fenix is just his units.
Are really
Champions
good.
are at least decently strong, and at least his units are kind of affordable. So if you have to do it, and his buildings are very affordable. So if you have to do a tech switch, not the end of the world. And Swann, he's great mutator resilience as long as he doesn't have to do any of the offensive and his ally does all the offensive while he sits at home and says, I def and also have a laser drill.
That's That's very well put. Okay, so yeah, it is by glowy eyes. So it's only C that we have reverse glowy eyes, but for the rest, it's by glowy eyes. All right.
Yeah, because E is definitely Zagara is better. So
glowy eyes. But look, Han and Horn has two glowy eyes above her head.
Co-op, everyone. Yeah, well, Zagara's eyes are glowier. See, Zagara's eyes have like the glare, from the brightness of them glowing outside the eyes, whereas Han and Horner, it's just inside the lenses, so it's less glowy. That's how we know.
All right,
they're just bigger.
All right, so for E, Zagara's better because she has glowier eyes. And for F, congratulations, Raynor, you're the best among the F tiers. Raynor has the glowiest eyes in the F tier, and also the least glowy eyes in the F tier. That's why he's in F tier. And here we are, guys. We're actually only 50 minutes into the recording. That's awesome. All right, that's our tier list for this week. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, we did it.
Nice.
Hashtag Solarite.
Hashtag Solarite, guys. Go watch Tutu and Sticks Better channels. They are linked in the description below. And if I remember, I'll even put them in the comments. Right below hashtag Solarite. I'll see you guys next time.